watch the back of the bus. I'm checking for anything that is leaking, oil, grease, any fluids underneath. I'm checking my compartment door, engine compartment door, to make sure it is operating properly and there is no damage. I'm checking all my electrical hoses and for any leaks, cuts, frays, and checking to make sure they are securely mounted. I'm checking my emergency switch to make sure it's securely mounted and not damaged. I'm checking my transmission fluid to make sure it's securely mounted. I can check it while the bus is warm or running. I would pull the dipstick out to make sure it's at the proper fuel line and it is in proper operating range or manufacturer specification. And I'm checking the hose to make sure it is not leaking, securely mounted, not leaking, cut, or frayed. I'm checking my oil dipstick to make sure it's securely mounted. It is not leaking, the hose is not cut or frayed. I would pull it out to make sure it is at the fuel line and it is at manufacturer specification. I'm checking my power steering reservoir that is securely mounted. It's not missing any bolts, brackets, or bushings. Checking the hose to make sure it's securely mounted, not cut, frayed, or leaking. And I am checking the cap to make sure it is on tight. Let me know if I'm going too fast. I'll bend down here so you guys can get it. Okay, I'm checking my coolant to make sure it's securely mounted. The hoses are not cracked, frayed, damaged, securely mounted. I would check that it is at proper operating range or manufacturer specification through the sight glass and that my cap is on tight. I'm checking my AC alternator that it is securely mounted, not cracked, damaged, or broken, not missing any bolts, brackets, or bushings. It is belt driven. This is my belt. Can have no more than 3/4 of an inch play in the center. It is snug. There are no cuts, frays, no oil or grease on my belt. I'm checking my AC compressor that it is securely mounted, not damaged, missing, not leaking, that not missing any bolts, brackets, or bushings. It is belt driven. This is my belt. Can have no more than 3/4 of an inch play in the center. It is snug. There's no cuts or frays or oil and grease. Back in here, I am checking my alternator. Can you see it back in there, the alternator? I'm checking my alternator to make sure it's securely mounted. It's not cracked, damaged, or broken. Not missing any bolts, brackets, or bushings. It is belt driven. This is my belt. Can have no more than 3/4 of an inch play in the center. It is snug. There's no cuts or frays and no oil or grease on my belt. I'm checking my water pump that is securely mounted. It is not damaged. It's not missing any bolts, brackets, bushings. It's not leaking. It is belt driven. This is my belt. Can have no more than 3/4 of an inch play in the center. It is snug and there's no cuts or frays or oil and grease on the belt. I'm checking my serpentine belts. I'm making sure that they are snug. There's no more than 3/4 of an inch play in the center. There is no oil or grease and no cuts or frays. Okay. Down here, what you can't see, I'm checking my power steering unit. Remember, that goes to your reservoir. Power steering unit, that it is securely mounted. It is not damaged, not leaking, not missing any bolts, brackets, bushings. It is gear driven. I am checking my air compressor, that it is securely mounted. It is not missing. It's not damaged. It's not leaking, not missing any bolts, brackets, or bushing, and it is gear driven. I'm checking my fan and blades, that it moves freely. The blades are not missing, they're not cracked or damaged, and it's securely mounted. Okay, step back, kind of talk about it a little bit in case you missed anything. This completes my engine. Close it up. Now we're gonna go to the front. Passenger door. Student door. I'm checking my student door to make sure it operates smoothly. I'm checking the glass to make sure it's securely mounted. It's not cracked or damaged. I'm checking my weather stripping to make sure it's securely mounted. It's not cut or frayed. I'm checking my hinges to make sure that they are securely mounted and not missing any nuts or bolts. I'm checking my handrails to make sure they're securely mounted, not damaged, and not missing any bolts. I'm checking my stairwell light to make sure it is not damaged, cracked, or missing. Okay, I'm checking my stairwell to make sure that the floor is secured. It's not distorted. There's no foreign objects, and not missing any bolts. Come up here inside. So guys, come on up and go in the seat and you can see better. Okay. All right, so I am checking my body fluid kit and first aid kit to make sure they are securely mounted and sealed. Okay, that's all you have to say. I'm checking my fire extinguisher down here, that it is in the green and year to date securely mounted. I'm checking my 3 reflective triangles are securely mounted and not damaged. Okay, I will take my key, put it in my ignition, and turn my ignition to the on position so I can hear my emergency warnings. Okay, I'm checking the tops of my seats for accurate padding. You don't have to say that once. Okay, once you get about here, I'm checking all my windows to make sure they're securely mounted and not cracked or damaged. I'm checking my emergency exits. They are clearly labeled. Okay, turn around. I'm checking the bottom of my seats to make sure that they got accurate padding, that they are securely mounted to the frame, and the frame is securely mounted to the floor. I'm checking my emergency exit to make sure the door operates smoothly. I hear the warning and see the warning. Make sure it opens. My restraint arm opens it all the way, and it's not missing the weather stripping, and the weather stripping is securely mounted and not cracked, cut, or frayed. The rest of the emergency exits work in the same manner. Okay, I'm going to check a few more seats. Okay, now that completes that. I'm going to get into my driver's compartment. Okay. Come on up so you guys can see this. I'm checking my seat belt. Pull it all the way out to make sure it is not cut, frayed, or damaged, securely mounted, and it latches. Okay. Okay, so now is what you're going to do is you're going to go, I'm going to check my ABS light. Okay, turn it off. It should, when it comes on, it should go off. Turn it back on, point to it. It went off. Now I'm going to do my safe start with my bus in neutral. Okay, so now it's already on the on, and then you turn it over. Okay, just like that. That gets all your gears and everything going. Okay, all your gauges. Okay, I'm checking my mirrors switches to make sure that my mirrors are adjusted to me. I'm checking my rear heater. I'm checking my rear heater. Leave it on. I'm checking my noise kill. Okay. I'm checking my boost pump. Turn it on, turn it off. Checking my mid-shift heater. Turn it on, turn it off. Checking my mid-shift heater. Checking my horn. Okay. Checking my door. Remember, it's already open. Now you close it because you need it closed. Okay. I'm checking my master flashers. This is to turn them on to get it ready. Checking my ambers. Click it says flasher light. Click that once, it shows your ambers are on. Then you say, I'm checking you can either say student lights or red lights, either one. I'm checking my student lights. Open the door, that turns your reds on, and my stop sign comes out. Point to your stop sign, okay? Then close your door, turns everything off. All right, I'm checking my headlights, turn them all the way on. You'll hear that bzzz, that's hooked up to our lights. That is our air system in here, okay? I'm checking my panel lights. You'll look here, this is the panel switch. Push down and you'll see this do a discolor. See? That means your panel lights are working. Okay, I'm checking my windshield wipers and blades. And they are working. Okay. So usually when I hit this is when I do this. I'm checking my windshield to make sure it's securely mounted. It's not cracked, damaged. Okay. I'm checking my exterior mirrors to make sure they are securely mounted. They are adjusted to me and they are clean. Okay. Now I'm going to keep going on. I'm checking my water temperature, which is that manufacturer specification. I'm checking my oil to make sure it's at manufacturer specification. Checking my RPMs, which is at 700. It's at manufacturer specification. I'm checking my miles per hour, which I cannot check unless my bus is moving. I'm checking my fuel gauge, which is at manufacturer specification. I'm checking my volts, which is at manufacturer specification. Checking my mileage. Checking my governor tanks, air tanks, you can see either one. It's at manufacturer specification. I'm checking my parking brake. I'm checking my ignition. I'm checking my gears. I'm checking my wet tank. I'm checking my front tank. I'm checking my rear tank. I'm checking my fan. I'm checking my throttle. You can say that or cruise control. I say throttle. Okay, I'm checking my speed on my throttle. Goes up, turn off. Checking my def, which is at manufacturer specification. I am checking my defroster. You have to put your hand up here. It works. Okay. I'm checking my driver heater. Put your hand down here. It works. Okay. I'm checking my park regen, which we do not touch unless the mechanic tells us to do so. I'm checking my exhaust brake. Okay, then you're gonna come down here to this. I'm checking my throttle and brake to make sure they're securely mounted and there is no debris. Okay, then you're gonna come up to this. I'm checking my my scope. I'm checking my tilt. Okay, I'm checking my left turn signal, which you point there. Okay, I'm checking my right turn signal. You point there. I'm checking my hazards. Okay, you point to both hazards. Okay, I'm checking my high beams. Your turn signal, push up. Okay, and your high beams is right there. Very lightly blue. Okay, and then turn it off. I'm checking my horn. I'm checking my steering wheel, has no more than 2 inches of play in it. Okay, checking my student mirror, which is securely mounted, not cracked, damaged, or missing. I'm checking my driver dome light. You turn it on, turn it off. Checking my front dome, and you look in your mirror, your student mirror, and you'll see them. Okay, turn it on, turn it off. Checking my rear dome, turn on, turn off. Checking my heater, mirrors, turn on, turn it off. You don't have to check this if you don't want to, okay? This is your driver AC and your passenger AC. You don't have to. This we do not check, and that we do not check. This we do not check, okay? So now that that is all done, now you say, I'm going to do my brake test, okay? I'm going to pump my brakes down a few times, 2 or 3 times, whatever, so I can build my air to my governor cutout, which is between 120 and 140 PSI. When you do this, press it all the way down. See how far it goes? Okay, and then I'm going to assist to get my governor cutout. Make sure you don't go over 1500 RPMs. In between that is fine. I usually do it about here or 1000. You hear it going. Okay, my governor cut out at 121 PSI. Now I'm going to do my pressure loss. I'm going to put my foot on the brake. Okay, I'm going to turn my bus off, turn it back on to the on position. Push my brake in. Can't lose no more than 3 PSI in 1 minute. As soon as it's stable. Like this. And time starts now. Just make sure you look at the watch, and I mean, you can go like this so you can see both at the same time. As soon as that 1 minute, you gotta let them know. Okay, I did not lose any air. Now I'm going to do my low pressure warning, which should activate before my pressure drops below 60 PSI. You should see and hear a warning. Okay, my low pressure warning came on at 60 PSI. Now I'm going to do my spring brake pop out, which should activate at approximately 40 PSI. Okay, my pop out came out at 26 PSI. Now I'm going to do my air pressure buildup, which should build up between 85 and 100 PSI within 45 seconds. Start the bus. Oh, this popped out, sorry. No, I'm going to do my spring brake hold. Excuse me. Turn my bus on. Okay, put it into drive. I'm going to rev it up to 100 RPMs to see if it holds. It held. Put it back into neutral. Now I'm going to do my pressure buildup. From 85 to 100 PSI, it should build up within 85 to 100 PSI in 45 seconds. I'm going to assist till I get to my 85 PSI. Sorry, I screwed that one up, guys. You just take that one part before doing it. you can just film me again doing just the brake test. So your 85 will be between the 80 and the 90. Okay. Between the 80 and 90. Okay. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000, 6, 1,000, 7, 1,000, 8, 1,000, 9, 1,000, 10, 1,000, 11, 1,000, 12, 1,000, 13, 1,000, 14, 1,000, 15, 1,000, 16, 1,000, 17, 1,000, 18, 1,000, 19, 1,000, 20, 1,000, 21, 1,000, 22, 1,000, 23, 1,000, 24, 1,000, 25, 1,000, 26, 1,000, 27, 1,000, 28, 1,000, 29, 1,000, 30, 1,000, 31, 1,000. Took 31 seconds. Now I'm going to bring my air, build up my air to my governor cutout, which is between 120 and 140 psi. Assist. Governor cut out at 121 psi. Now I'm going to do my service brake test. I'm going to put my foot on the brake, put my bus into drive, push in my spring brake. I'm going to put my hands lightly on the wheel and move at up to 5 miles an hour and apply my service brake. And if my bus pulls to the left or right, that means my brakes need to be adjusted. Hold on. It did not pull. Pull parking brake, put it in neutral, turn your wheels all the way to the right. Okay? Now, so what you'll do is you'll open up your door. You're going to turn off your bus, turn it back to the on position. And you're going to ask Gray, I cannot leave my seat with my to check my lights with my key in the ignition. Can you please help me? Starting with my stairwell light and my right side clearance lights. He's going to get out. He's going to go stand over there. Okay? You're going to close the door as soon as he gets out. Okay? Then you're going to yell out, because your lights are already on, you're going to say clearance lights. He's going to give you the thumb up. Okay? Then you're going to go tell him amber lights. Turn your ambers on. Okay? Then you're going to tell him red lights or student lights, whichever you call them. Open your door, gives you the thumbs up. Close your door, turns them off. Okay? Left turn signal, he'll give you the thumbs up. Right turn signal, gives you the thumbs up. Okay? Amber or hazards, he'll give you the thumbs up. Okay? Then you say headlights, they're already on, you don't have to do nothing. Okay, then you say high beams. Turn your high beams on. He'll give you a thumbs up. Turn it off. Now you know you're done. Now you tell him, can you please go check my lights in the rear along with my left side clearance lights. He goes back. He'll stand back there so he can see you in the mirror. And you do clearance lights. He'll give you the thumbs up. Then you say amber lights. Turn your ambers on. Then you say red lights. Open your door. He gives you the thumbs up. Okay, close your door. Okay, then you say left turn signal. He gives you the thumbs up. Right turn signal. He gives you the thumbs up. Okay, hazards. He gives you the thumbs up. Okay, Then you say tail lights. You don't do anything. Your tail lights are on because your headlights are on. Okay, then you say brake lights. Push on your brakes, gives you a thumbs up. Okay, release. Then you say reverse lights. Okay, then you're gonna take this, you're gonna literally turn your bus on. Okay, you have to put your foot on the brake to go engage. Put reverse lights. It gives you the thumbs up. Put it back in neutral. Okay, he's gonna start coming up. You're gonna take this and you're gonna open the door because he's gonna come to that door. Turn it off. Pull your key. Make sure all lights, everything are off. Okay, as soon as he comes to the door, that gives you time to think if you did everything right. If not, then you gotta let him know so he has to get back in the bus. So now we're gonna go out the door. Seat belt. First thing on, last thing off. Okay. Go to the front of the bus. Okay, front of the bus. Okay. I'm checking my clearance lights to make sure they're securely mounted, not damaged, missing, broken. I'm checking my amber lights to make sure they are securely mounted, not cracked, damaged, or missing. That's what I'm for. I'm checking my red lights to make sure they are not damaged, they're securely mounted, not damaged, cracked, or missing. Okay, I'm up here. I'm checking my windshield to make sure that it is not damaged, cracked. Checking my weather stripping to make sure it is not cut, frayed, or missing. Checking my safety sticker that it is present. Checking my windshield wipers to make sure they're securely mounted and the blades are not cut or frayed. Okay, I'm checking my mirrors to make sure they're securely mounted, not damaged, cracked, broken, or missing, and not missing any bolts, brackets, or bushings. Okay, you want to touch every one of them. Okay. All right. I'm checking my left, right, and hazard turn signals. Okay, to make sure they are securely mounted, not cracked, damaged, or missing. I'm checking my headlights and my high beams to make sure they are securely mounted, not cracked, damaged, or missing. Okay, I'm checking underneath my bus to make sure it is not leaning. That would indicate a broken spring or shock or a flat tire. I'm checking my windshield wiper fluid. The door operates smoothly, it's securely mounted, and it's in operating range, and the cap is on tight. Usually have them stand right here at this door. I am checking my clearance lights to make sure they're securely mounted, not cracked, damaged, or missing. They are of proper color, red in the rear, amber elsewhere. Okay, I am checking my windows to make sure they are securely mounted and not cracked or damaged. Checking my emergency exits to make sure they're clearly labeled and not missing the reflective tape. Okay, I am checking my fuel door to make sure it operates smoothly, checking to make sure my cap is on tight, checking to make sure that it is not leaking. So you can either go on to that or whatever, but I go on to the reflectors. I'm checking my reflectors and turn signals to make sure they are securely mounted, they are not missing, and they are clean, and they are proper color with red in the rear, amber elsewhere. Okay, now I'm coming to here. You guys might want to really get in here on this. Okay, right up here. So yeah, come on over here. That way you can get in. I'm checking my spring mount to make sure it's securely mounted, not cracked, damaged, broken, or missing any bolts or brackets or bushings. Then you're going to put it back here. I'm checking my rear spring mount to make sure it's securely mounted, not cracked, damaged, broken, or missing any brackets or bushings. Okay, I am checking my leaf springs to make sure they are securely mounted. They are not cracked, damaged, or shifted. I am checking my U-bolt that right here. That right there is your U-bolt. To make sure it is securely mounted, it is not cracked, damaged, or missing any bolts, brackets, or bushings. Checking my shock to make sure it's securely mounted, not cracked, damaged, broken, missing any spring, any bolts, brackets, or bushings, and it is not leaking. Remember, oil's in that thing. I'm checking my airbag and airbag mount to make sure it is securely mounted, not cracked, damaged, broken, missing, not leaking, no cuts or frays. Okay. I'm checking my airlines. That's that orange thing up there, your airlines, to make sure they are not cracked, damaged, or missing, not cut or frayed or leaking. I'm checking my brake chamber to make sure it is securely mounted, not cracked, damaged, broken, missing, not leaking, not missing any bolts or brackets. I'm checking my slack adjuster to make sure it's securely mounted, not cracked, damaged, broken, or missing any bolts or bushings. I'm checking my push rod to make sure that it is securely mounted. It's connected to my push rod's connected to my slack adjuster. With the brakes applied, it sits at a 90-degree angle with the brakes released. You cannot pull it no more than 1 inch. It's securely mounted and not cracked, broken, damaged, or missing any bolts. I'm checking my brake drum to make sure that's this here, or you can show it out here, this right here, okay? To make sure it's securely mounted, not cracked, broken, damaged, no illegal welds, dents. There's no oil or grease between the drum and the linings. I'm checking my linings to make sure they are not worn, dangerously thin, and there's no oil or grease between the pads. Okay, then we're gonna, come on. Oh man, my knees, sorry. I'm checking my tire to make sure it is evenly worn. There cannot be no recaps on my front tires. I have no more than 4/32 tread depth. Okay, I am checking my sidewalls for any bubbles, any abrasions, bubbles, or cuts, ABC. Okay, I'm checking my rim to make sure that is securely mounted, that there are no illegal welds or dents. It is not cracked or damaged. And I'm checking for any rust that would indicate that my rim is loose from my tire. I'm checking my valve stem to make sure it's securely mounted. It's not damaged. The cap is on tight. It is not leaking. I would use a tire gauge to check my pressure, and my air pressure in my tire is at manufacturer specification. Okay, I'm checking all my lug nuts to make sure they are securely mounted. They are not cracked, damaged, or missing. There's no rust trails or shininess that would indicate they are loose. I am checking my hub seal to make sure it is not leaking. I'm checking my mud flap to make sure it's securely mounted, not cracked, or not damaged or missing. I am checking my splash guard to make sure it's securely mounted. It's not cracked, frayed, or cut. Okay, that is the front tire. I'm gonna come down here. I'm checking my cargo. Checking the door that it operates smoothly. Okay, I'm checking the inside. I'm checking the floor, the box, to make sure there are no holes in the box. I'm checking my cross members, these are cross members, and my frame to make sure that it is securely mounted, not damaged, no welds, and not missing any bolts. Okay, that's that. All right, rear tire. This is one that's tricky. This one you have to do more of a memory. Okay, I'm checking my front spring mount, that thing right there, to make sure it's securely mounted. It is not damaged, broken, missing any bolts, brackets, or bushings. I'm checking my rear spring mount. That is up underneath it sits right in the center of your airbag mount. I'm checking my So you'll say, I'm checking my rear spring mount to make sure it's securely damaged, or to make sure it's secure, properly secured, it's not damaged, cracked, or missing any bolts or bushings. Okay, then you're gonna come up here. I'm checking my leaf spring to make sure it's securely mounted, not cracked, damaged, or shifted. Okay, then you're gonna come over here. I'm checking my U-bolts to make sure they're securely mounted, not cracked, damaged, or missing any bolts, brackets, or bushings. Okay, I'm checking my torque arm that sits behind this. Okay, you can't see it and it sits there. Checking my torque arm to make sure it's securely mounted, not cracked, damaged, broken, or twisted. I'm checking my shock absorber to make sure that it is securely mounted, not cracked, damaged, or missing any bolts, brackets, or bushings, and it is not leaking. I'm checking my airbag and my airbag mount to make sure it's securely mounted, not cracked, damaged, broken, missing, not cut or frayed. I'm checking my air lines to make sure they're securely mounted and there's no cuts or frays and they're not leaking. Okay, I'm checking my brake chamber, make sure that it is securely mounted, not cracked, damaged, broken, dented, not missing any bolts or brackets, and it's not leaking. I'm checking my slack adjuster to make sure it is securely mounted, not cracked, damaged, broken, missing any bolts, brackets, or bushings. I am checking my push rod, which is connected to my slack adjuster, and when brakes are applied, it is at a 90-degree angle. When they are released, you cannot pull it no more than 1 inch by hand, and it's not missing any bolts, brackets, and bushings. Okay, I'm checking my my brake drum to make sure that it is securely mounted, no illegal welds or dents, that it is that it has no oil or grease between the drum and the linings. I'm checking my linings to make sure they are not worn dangerously thin and there's no oil or grease on the linings. I'm checking my bud spacer to make sure that it is securely mounted, my tires are not rubbing, and there are no debris between my buds. I'm checking my tires to make sure they are evenly worn. You can have recaps. Recaps are permissible, can have them on here. I'm checking my tread depth. It cannot be no more than 2/32 on the rear. I'm checking my sidewalls to make sure that I have no abrasions, bubbles, or cuts. I'm checking my valve stems. I have 2, one right across from the other one, to make sure they are securely mounted. The caps are on tight, they're not leaking. I would use a tire gauge to check the pressure and the pressure to see if it was at manufacturer specification. I'm checking my rim to make sure that it's securely mounted, that it is not cracked or damaged, no illegal welds or dents, and to check to see if there is any rust that would indicate the rim is loose from the tire. I'm checking my lug nuts to make sure they're securely mounted, not missing or damaged. If there was rust or shininess, it would indicate that they are loose. Checking my hub seal to make sure it's secured and not leaking. Okay, come up. I am checking my mud flap to make sure it's secured and it can not be no more than 8 inches from the ground. I'm checking my splash guard to make sure it's securely mounted. It is not cut or frayed. My bus. Okay. I'm checking my clearance lights to make sure they're securely mounted, not damaged, not damaged, missing, securely mounted, not cracked, damaged, or missing. Sorry about that. I'm checking my amber lights to make sure they are not They're securely mounted, not cracked, damaged, or missing. I'm checking my red lights to make sure they are securely mounted, not cracked, damaged, or missing. Checking my emergency window to make sure it is clearly labeled, the window is not damaged, and the reflective tape is present. Okay, I'm checking my left, right, turn signals and hazards to make sure they're securely mounted, not cracked, damaged, or missing. I'm checking my tail lights and my brake lights to make sure they are securely mounted, not cracked, damaged, or missing. I'm checking my reverse lights to make sure they are not cracked, damaged, or missing. I'm checking my reflectors to make sure they are not damaged and they are clean and they are of proper color. I'm checking my exhaust to make sure it's securely mounted, not damaged, no holes that would indicate soot or rust, and it cannot extend more than 2 inches from the bumper. I'm only going to show you what is different on this side. Okay. I'm checking my drive shaft to make sure it is securely mounted, it is not damaged, and there are no foreign objects. I'm checking my hanger to make sure it's securely mounted and there's no foreign objects. I'm checking my U-joint. That's not a bolt, it's a joint back here. Okay, to make sure it's securely mounted and there are no foreign objects. You can't see it, so you just point to it, okay? Now, I'm checking my emergency door. It is clearly labeled. The reflective tape is present. I'm checking that the restraint arm holds the door open properly. Checking the weather stripping is present or is not missing, not cracked, frayed. Okay, then you close it. I'm checking my stop sign to make sure it's securely mounted to the bus, that it comes out to a 90-degree angle. Checking my lenses to make sure they're not cracked, damaged, or missing. I'm checking my bladder to make sure it's securely mounted, not cut or frayed, and not leaking. I'm checking my cable to make sure it's securely mounted and not cut or frayed. Okay, so here we go. Trick part here. Now my steering box. Okay, look in there with your cameras and I'm going to show you exactly where it's at, okay? You might have to hold that door open. So watch where my finger goes. I'll be standing over there, okay? See this thing here? This is your steering box, okay?
Okay.
That's what I will be pointing at. Okay, so I'm checking my steering box to make sure it's securely mounted. It is not cracked, damaged, leaking. The hoses are not leaking or cut or frayed. Okay, now come on in here. So you're gonna see what I'm gonna try and get up underneath and I'm gonna show you what I'm pointing to, okay? While you guys get in there. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay, I'm checking my Pitnum arm. I'm checking my drag link. Okay, back here. Okay, I'm gonna get down so you guys can get in here. I'm checking my spindle. This is your spindle. You get it? And then this bar right here is your tie rod. Checking, you say all those together. I'm checking my Pitnum arm. I'm checking my tie rod. No, checking my Pitnum arm. I'm checking my tie rod, my spindle, drive shaft. Sorry, and your not your drive shaft. Oh my God, I just blew it. Pitnum arm. Checking my Pitnum arm. I'm checking my drag link, my spindle, and my tie rod to make sure it's securely mounted, not cracked, damaged, broken, missing any bolts, nuts, or cotter pins. That's it. Done. That's the